name is Don Kraus, and we're here to talk about allergies. And again, allergies is just a symptom of disease. And disease means that your body's not at ease. Instead of being at ease, it's at dis-ease. And allergies is just a symptom and not the cause. And as you get to listening to me, you'll find out that I strongly believe that any weakness, sickness, and disease is a lifestyle problem. There are some things in our lifestyle and our situations that we can't do anything about, but there's ways that we can help our body cope and prevent these weaknesses and sicknesses and diseases from taking place. So we want to first start out again, as I always do, on the basics of vitalness. Because if you're vital, if you have 100% vitality, there is no allergies. There is no weakness, sickness, and disease. And so we not want to learn how to have 100% vitality for 120 years. No one likes the prospect of being sick or thinking about being senile as you get older. We're to grow old but not get old. So how do we grow old without getting old? Well, we stay at 100% vitality. Well, how are we going to stay at 100% vitality? Well, we've got to consider two laws of health. Remember that absence of symptoms does not mean you're healthy. There's 50% of the people with allergies don't have symptoms, but they have allergies. Okay? So there's just a little bit of a difference that we'll be talking about that distinguish why one has symptoms but they're still allergic to things and one doesn't. All right? Just throw a little carrot out there to make you hang on there. Now, there's two laws of health. One is that we put in as much energy as we take out. In other words, your vitality is dependent on what we call the potential energy. And potential is the ability of your body to last you 120 years and provide a potential energy which comes from what we call mineral energy reserves, and it comes from magnetic energy reserves. That's what makes up our potential. And these reserves are supposed to last us 120 years if our parents gave us a good start. If our parents were lacking reserves, then we were born with already deficiencies in those reserves. And if we don't make up for that difference somewhere during our life, the life of our body, then our body will run out of those particular mineral reserves sooner than 120 years. So that's why we have a lot to do with our children's and how long they go through life, or how energetic they go through life. And see, what's happening today is each generation is giving the next less to work with. And so we have kids being born with allergies as soon as they come out of the mother. And maybe they're having them before, you know. We think they're kicking in there. Probably they're kicking against that pizza you just ate, you know, Mom. Well, I'm allergic to this pizza, the baby says, but so it's kicking. We say, oh, look, it's kicking. It's alive, you know, and it's kicking you because of that pizza or that chocolate or that coffee. Well, that was just added as a sidetrack there, but that potential is important, and it should last us 120 years. But when it doesn't, then we're going to get into trouble. And one of the symptoms of low potential is weakness, sickness, and disease, because it lowers our vitality. And so the first law of health requires that we put in as much into the reserves as we're taking out. Okay, and when we start taking out more than we're putting in, that's when we begin to get weak. In other words, we lose vitality. And so the energy comes in through breathing, rest, water, and food. And the energy goes out through stress, work, physical and mental work, digesting, the processing of the foods that you put in, and then the cleaning, stress, mental and physical work, and then we got digestion and then the elimination process. The way the body cleans, that takes a lot of energy out. Some, like it'd take more to take a pizza out than it would salad. Okay? After you're done digesting it. So you've got to put in enough energy to cover those processes. And when you start, stress starts taking more out, your intensity of lifestyle takes more out, or the energy it takes to digest your food takes more out, or the energy it takes to clean out the bad guys, the obstructions, takes more energy out than you're able to get enough breathing, rest, water, and food to take care of, is the beginning of weakness, sickness, and disease. And allergies is just one of those names that we give to that, those weakness, sickness, and disease. All right? So that's the first law of health in order to maintain the vitalness of your body. The second is that it involves the obstructions, the cleaning out of this body, this temple that our Creator gave us to live in. The obstructions we define as anything that interferes with the circulation of our blood. And the life of the flesh is in the blood, the Scripture says. So the life we're talking about is the breath of life, the ability of the body to breathe is the breath of life. And so as the blood circulates, it carries that breath, that ability to breathe throughout your whole body system, to every cell. And then those cells use that life force and create energy that your body runs on, lives on, and gives you energy to do the things that you want to do with your body. Okay? So an obstruction is something that we allow into the body that the body can't eliminate fast enough after it uses it and uses up what it can use from what we're putting in, and it can't get it out. And if it can't get it out through the kidneys, 92% of it, the waste and the obstructions come out through our kidneys, and 6% comes out through the bowel, and then 2 comes out through the lungs and the skin. So if it can't get out for whatever reason, then it has to be stored. And depending on where it's stored in your body, it interferes with the circulation of the blood. And of course, that interferes with breathing, and then that directly lowers your vitality. And that leads to weakness, sickness, and disease. So those are the 2 laws that we need to observe. They're absolute. You can't cheat on them and get away with it, whether you have symptoms or not. And what I'm trying to get across to you in this seminar is that your lifestyle is responsible for that breaking those laws. In other words, those laws not operating so that you maintain your health and prevent weakness, sickness, disease. You don't cure allergies, but you prevent them. And if you have allergies, then you can prevent your body from continuing to have them by making adjustments in your lifestyle. So hopefully before we're done with this seminar, you'll be motivated to do some things, make some adjustments in your lifestyle that will help your body deal with this thing called allergies. Okay? So we're going to talk about allergies. We're going to talk about what some of the symptoms are of allergies, and then what causes it, and then what we can do in our lifestyle to prevent it. That's kind of our plan for attacking this subject. All right, let's talk about some of the allergy symptoms so that we can all identify what we're considering the symptom of something that's really underlying, which is loss of vitality. What is allergies? First, let's define allergies. Allergies means that there's an allergen around. Have you met Mr. Allergen? Is allergen a person, place, or thing? You know? So, you know, what do you think people mean when they say, I have allergies? And probably we could say every symptom that a person has is an allergic symptom. Even cancer is an allergy. Okay. But an allergy usually means that there's a reaction taking place in your body when your body's trying to deal with a particular problem. Okay, there's a reaction that's taking place that's letting you know that there's a problem. Okay? Because a lot of people have things happening in their body, but they have no symptoms. So allergy is just a symptom, and it takes place in a very aggressive way. It's something that's readily seen or felt when it happens. Or other things can be slow little things that take place over time. Allergies are usually things that are happening. They happen just all of a sudden, you know, and they can go away just as suddenly, and they can sometimes come back just as suddenly. Okay, but normally, allergies are caused by what they call allergens, and allergens can be animal, vegetable, and mineral. They can be chemical. An allergen can be chemical. It can be one of these little critters like a bacteria, a virus. It can be a parasite, a worm. An allergen could be the sun. It could be in a liquid form, like water, something in water. It could be in the air. It could be in something you eat. All right? An allergen is just something that when it comes against you, your body's trying to, trying to resist it, is not able to. In other words, your body is not able to resist the allergen that's coming against you. So to understand that mechanism, we need to understand the 3 stages that the body goes through, and I won't go into large detail here, but so that you can get a picture of what's happening when you get a symptom that results because of the allergens. Not necessarily attack, but I guess we could call it an attack, allergy attack. Okay, normally there's no symptoms. When the first stage of takes place, when stress or an allergen comes against you, the first stage, there's an alarm that goes off. All right? Like when you wake up in the morning and you ate too late, you know, and you're drugged, and so you have to have an alarm going ring to get you up. And normally you get up and shut it off because it gets everything stirred up, right? So when an allergen starts attacking you, the first thing the body does is sets off an alarm. And then the next stage, after the alarm goes off, the body's told to resist. So it goes to your bank, your potential, your P, your reserves of mineral reserves and your magnetic energy, which is your rest energy, your battery reserves. Okay? Your battery has a 120-year warranty on it. And so you go to the battery or you go to the minerals to pull some reserves out that the body can use to resist this allergen. Now, as long as you can resist this allergen that's attacking you, there's no symptoms. Okay? Doesn't mean you're not allergic. See, it doesn't say people, I don't have no symptoms, you know. But as soon as now the allergen comes, the alarm goes off, but there's not enough resistance, not enough in the bank, not enough reserves to resist with. Then it goes to the next stage, which is what we call the exhaustion stage. And when the body's exhausted, that's where we have our symptoms of weakness, sickness, and disease showing up. All right, the symptoms start showing up then. The allergen was still attacking us. We were running the battery. Most people aren't, if they don't, unfortunately, most people tend to not do anything about anything unless they have some symptoms. I don't know why that is. Could be, it's usually due to selfishness or ignorance. And so I take care of the ignorance. So after this seminar, you'll only have okay. Now, so that allergen, when it attacks you, sets off the alarm. Then we go through the resistance, and then when there's not a resistance, then the symptoms start showing up. And the symptoms are umpteen numbers. Let's talk a little bit about some of the symptoms. You can have a breakout of skin. Some people get hives, get red skin, and things like that. Some of them they really hurt you. I mean, you notice them right away, you know. But you can have little molds or little white molds or dark molds. That's an allergic reaction. There's not enough resistance in your skin. There's not enough reserves to resist to keep your skin protected from these allergens attacking you. All right? Of course, your sinuses, all your sinuses, your head can be showing the symptoms when there's not enough to resist what's coming through the breathing. And a lot of times because of poor digestion in our stomach and then poor elimination through our bowel, things back up. So allergens form from the undigested foods or poor elimination of the wastes through the colon and back up and attack the sinus areas, the eyes, the ears. The eyes are red, the ears get inflamed and infected. See? And things like that take place up in the head. Those are allergic reactions. See? And there's other people that have the colon problem and have the poor digestion problem, but they don't have these problems. Why? Because they still have enough in the reserves to pull out to resist it. That's the only difference. They're still allergic to that stuff, but they have those symptoms because their body has enough in the bank to pull out, to set up the defenses, and to resist it. All right? And and then there's your blood pressure problems can be. You can have allergic reactions in that's taking place in your pancreas, and you have sugar problems. So a lot of people have low blood sugar and high blood sugar because of allergic reactions, especially to certain types of foods, or there could be certain types of chemicals out there, and they're an allergen, and as soon as they hit your body, the alarm goes off. Again, as long as there's enough resistance, you could be in all kinds of chemicals out there, and you have no symptoms. But eventually those chemicals are going to wear down your reserves if you don't find some ways to help your body protect itself or make sure the reserves stay. We put extra in there to keep those reserves up so you can keep defending yourself. All right? A lot of mental and emotional problems are allergic reactions. You can be allergic to certain things, and boy, you just get depressed like crazy, you know? And some people get hyper, especially kids. When kids are allergic to stuff, they can get hyper and they can't sit down, and you can't manage them at all. And a lot of parents wonder why they're always having to beat their kids down, and they keep feeding them the allergens. And they wonder why. Kids aren't normally disobedient, you know? They want to learn, they want to understand. So a lot of learning disabilities that people have, and especially kids, are allergic reactions. They're allergic to those fluorescent lights that they're sitting under at the school. And then the teachers wonder why they can't sit still. And then what they feed them for lunch, they wonder why they still can think. See? But a lot of times, mental and emotional instabilities and paranoia and schizophrenia and mood swings are allergic reactions. You've seen people that way. They just seem to change personalities. Okay? And it's not something that they can control. See, it's just the allergen hits the alarm goes off, the allergen hits, and there's not enough in reserves to cope, to compensate. And when that happens, they can go into the body's attempting to find another way to cope. And that's the symptom that you're having, which we call an allergy. And sometimes it's just certain allergens. We'll talk about the different kinds of allergens, but generally that's what makes the symptoms, is the inability of the body to. It's exhausted. Became exhausted trying to keep fighting these allergens. And so we're going to have to identify them and move away from them, right? So swelling, edema, like swollen feet, hands, constipation, gas, all these are allergic reactions. You know? All your itises are allergic reaction. Infections that are taking place because infection and drainage and things like that is the way the body's trying to protect the cells, because the allergen, they can't resist those allergens. Your defense system is exhausted, and it don't have the raw materials or the mineral reserve, or it doesn't have the magnetism, the rest, the battery charge that it needs to resist with. So that's what you're resisting with. So it just don't have it. So then the body's doing all these other things to try to cope with the situation, so that to keep the allergen from just taking over. Okay, so these are just symptoms again, and I mean there's thousands of them, symptoms that we could name that people have, and that are we would call allergies. But we need to understand it's just a symptom. It's just the effect of the cause. Even the allergen's not your problem. See? We want to destroy the allergen. And it's interesting, a lot of people, the way the orthodox way of handling allergens is to give you more of them. So they give you some allergen, like if they think you're allergic to mold, they give you a little mold in the shot form. And their mentality is that if I give you a little bit of it, you can build up your resistance to it. But see, you're already exhausted. Why would you want to put more in when you can't keep up fighting the allergen as it is? So to feed you out is the same thing of taking shots, you know, the different shots that they give, especially kids, like the flu shot is an example. So you're going to put a little flu in you to build up your resistance to flu. Well, that's fine as long as you got enough reserves. But as soon as you take that flu shot, you set off the alarm. So then your body's coming to resist the flu shot, the virus they gave you. Now you're okay as long as you got enough in the bank to cover. But what if you don't? And maybe you did until they gave you the shot. And then you used it up, and then a few weeks or months or years later, then you got all these allergies. You see? So we got to stay away from manipulating the body and make sure we just give the body what it needs so it can shut that alarm off. And we've got to make sure the body gets what it needs to defend itself against these allergens, because a lot of these allergens you can't get away from. You know? So we're going to have to find ways in our lifestyle to help the body get what it needs to cope and to resist. And that's about all we're going to be able to do. But the symptoms are just manifestations of the inability of your body to resist. That's all it is. And so hopefully we're not going to wait until we have the symptoms to make sure that our bank account, our potential is where it should be. In other words, we want to learn to keep our potential up there high so we don't have to put up with any of these symptoms. So again, all this different symptoms, again, they're varied mentally, emotionally, physically. They're all just, and they take place usually suddenly. In other words, when you get into some ragweed, you break out, you know, or something like that. It's something that you just get around, and it attacks you, and there you are. And usually when you're under stress, you're more allergic to things than you would otherwise not be. Now, why would that be?
Resistance is
Right. When you're under stress, you're using your resistance for the stress. And here comes the allergen too. It's not enough to go around. So you have less resistance when you're dealing with some of these other lifestyle activities that we all are involved in doing. And if our work or our job or whatever is putting us under pressure, then our body, the alarm's going off more, see. So the more that the alarm's running on things, the more that the allergen's going to be able to wear us down and use up our potential. But again, there's no symptoms until we go to the exhaustion stage. First the alarm goes off, then we resist, and the body takes care of the allergen or the problem or the stress. And